All right, I've got a lot to cover today, so let's just be brief. On the market front, I'm leaning more bullish than I am bearish, at least in the short term, and short term meaning till the end of the week. When I look at the SPY 4-hour chart, for example, I'm only seeing a liquidity grab to go higher. Didn't get closure below 671. I don't really want to buy any puts here because you got an inverse head and shoulder pattern here. So I think you're going to go test the 690 level probably by the end of this week, if not sooner, maybe like Wednesday, ideally. So that's what I'm seeing there. But one of the more interesting things to me is we have all these shipping companies and all the deliverables or delivery companies like FedEx and UPS starting to break out. I really like how they look. Like Zim, for example, went up $10 since Friday. This is now breaking out. If I look at it on a daily chart, it looks pretty good to me. And you're now testing the highs from a couple weeks ago. So I'm taking leaps into Zim, HSHP, which is the Himalaya Shipping Company, UPS, and then also FedEx. I think there's a lot of good value to be had in energy and industrial. So that's really what I'm watching for. In one sec. Just getting a lot of pings in Discord. So I'm really optimistic that we hit that 690 target on SPY by the end of the week. Probably we'll get that on tomorrow, to be honest. I don't know if we'll get it today, but we'll see. Zim looks pretty good on the daily. Like I think we're starting to break out towards the highs here. I'm really targeting that 50 area, 60 area by the end of the year. So that's why I'm interested in getting leaps. One thing to mention on Zim, which is what makes it a somewhat risky play, they're trying to sell the company. So you can either take commons and then just scale out of them before they sell, or leave a couple and see where those end up. So I'm really liking how some of these are breaking out. Like if I look at HSPS, for example, on the daily, like your all-time highs, and like you don't come back from this kind of breakout ever, right? So I really like leaps here. I'll probably get 15 or 18 calls for January 2027. That's really what I'm looking at there. UPS, I'm liking 120C weeklies. I don't know if we tag that. I think we likely will. Just because this area here, if I just draw a simple line, has been defended quite a bit. So I really like how this chart looks. You got like a triple bottom here. So triple bottom, 2, 3, undercut and rip. I think that's kind of the move there. But I also like leaps on this. So maybe like, 130, 150 calls for January 2027. And I'm kind of seeing the same thing on FedEx. If I look at this on the daily as well, like this is the start of a new industrial cycle to me. We're not failing on the equity side, or maybe how investors start looking at the U.S. market. I think people are trying to withdraw their money and put it towards like other markets like South Korea, Italy, Spain, and whatever that we reviewed last time. But I do think there is a lot of credibility to these kind of breakouts, especially because they're not slowing down, right? And then I mentioned this a while back, but long XLE, long industrials and energy in particular. The data center demand is not going down. If anything, it's increasing. And I know there's a lot of companies like Anthropic and Microsoft trying to pump everyone's bag, saying, all white-collar jobs will be replaced in the next 18, 24 months. I don't know how true that is or how far off the mark that is. But based on what I'm seeing, I do like the look of energy as a whole. And then I'm really liking MU weeklies. So trying to get to that 441 area is kind of the name of the game. If it comes down into this area, I'm going to buy calls. If it tags up here, I'm going to buy puts. That's really what I'm looking at. And then same thing with SNDK. I'm really looking at tagging this upper area here, and then I'll buy puts towards the 539, 540 area. And if we get that today, I don't know if we'll kind of tag that 539 area today or tomorrow, whenever that is. But I'm going to be buying calls just because like we've been consolidating in this range for a couple of days now. I really like how these look. Same thing with WDC. They're also sold out till 2027, if not more. And we've been ranging here for the last couple of weeks as well. So I really like how this chart looks. If I just draw very simple levels here, if we get a tag of the highs above here, or maybe around this, like the 300 area, that's where the call wall is. So I'll be looking to short those pops, come back down to this range, and then buy calls towards the upper range of that spectrum. So these might move slow, but I really like how they're moving. STYX, or sorry, not STYX. Let's look at some other things that I'm interested in. Wolf. I really like how this chart looks. We're coming into premiums. So it'll probably come into like this discount area around 14, 13. Then I want to get calls for April or May or March or April around the 20 area. That's really where my target is for Wolf. Cypher, kind of the same story. I really like how this looks. If I just draw a simple trend line here from the highs to the lows. Let's just do this. And let's do this on the low side. you're about to break out. So I don't know when that happens. Maybe it happens in the end of the month, but this is why I really like the March, April calls, like 320 or April, whatever the second week is in April. I think I'm going to target that 20, 22, 23 area for Cypher. So those look pretty good to me. And then I also like APLD commons. Their spread is a bit whack, so I don't want to just play that game on options. But you do have a bit of a expanding megaphone pattern here. So if I look, draw lines from the lows to there, and then take the highs from this area down to here, like you're almost about to break out. I think it'll be a couple more days or a couple more weeks of consolidation, and it's inevitable that you either go up or go down. I'm really looking at this as an upper bound play around that 46, 48 area. That's really where my next target is for APLD on the daily side. So those are some other tickers I like. I think we mentioned HII like last week or 2 weeks ago. It's already broken out. Like I don't know what else I want to say here, except I started averaging those commons last week. I'm up about like 10, 15%-ish. Let me just measure the move from this area when I started buying them. About 15%. So you could have got a 15% return if you had just bought them when we did that Thursday call around long-term investing. So a lot of these industrial names are starting to break out, and I think mining will soon follow. So I'm looking at HL. I already have a number of leaps on this for March, but I'm going to roll them to the end of the year. I'm really targeting that 30, 25, 26 area, which is this imbalance here. And that's really where my take profit will be. If we get to that area, that's really where I'll be looking to scale out of that position, which I think we will. And same story with SPY, like you get an inverse head and shoulder pattern here. So I think the move upwards is inevitable. Gold looks pretty good as well for a run up. I think towards that 466 area, that's really where my target is. So if I just draw a line on that 466, you can see we rejected on that 1, 2, 3, 4, a handful of times. And we're starting to put an inverse right shoulder here. So you have your left shoulder, you have your head here, and then right shoulder will be around the 451 area. You can either start getting like weeklies on this now around 460, or get like March 466 or 480 calls. Those would be your best bang for your buck. So we'll see how that goes, but chart looks pretty good to me. And if I look at silver, I don't know what to do, but frankly, I don't know what's going on here. But if it holds this area, which I think it likely will, then I want to get some 80 calls for the end of the month, or maybe even 100 calls for sometime in March, because that's where your rejection zone is, and I want to see if they target this imbalance that they've set around 85. So that's really what I'm looking for. I'm surprised this held this good, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it, but here we are. BTC, kind of the same story. It's held, it's consolidating, accumulating. I was expecting it to roll over like a couple weeks ago, but we didn't get it. So I think you're moving towards the upper boundary, towards 74, 650 on the Bitcoin chart. Looks pretty good. We'll see what happens there, but all in all, I think it's the bottom has been in since Friday, and on SPY, the only thing I'm literally seeing is just this one shape play out, and let's see if that happens or not. But I got 696 to the upside for the weekly target, and then 671, maybe even 655 for the downside. I wouldn't rush into buying puts here, let them sweep higher before I want to get more hedges for 650p for March. But I do think it's inevitable that we go up. I don't know if we go down and sweep and undercut like around that 675, 674 area, or if it just grinds up slowly through the rest of the day, but that's really what I'm looking for. QQQ, kind of a similar story. I drew two scenarios here. One is like that undercut and rip. This was actually on the 4 hour, so let's go look at it on the 4 hour. That's what I'm seeing there. I think they'll hold this level or maybe even kind of undercut that 590 area and then go up. But you're below your put wall right now, so I wonder if they want to push it back up above 600 before continuing higher towards the call wall at 626. It's unlikely it could happen. I don't know if we get like more war tweets or something like that in the next couple of hours. It's unlikely that we go below 690 to be, or 590 to be honest, on QQQ, but I've been wrong many times in the past, so we'll see what happens there. And the market is open. Let them undercut. I don't want to chase anything. I don't want to buy puts. I don't want to buy calls just yet. I just want to watch and see what happens. But I am optimistically leaning towards the upside because I know that they've grabbed a little liquidity for the last couple of days from this demand zone or supply zone. I think it's demand zone. So this is the demand zone for SPY. And it's been the case for the last like 4 months at this point in time. Anytime it comes around this area, we just bounce upper in the next like 4 trading sessions. So that's really what I'm watching for. I do have a couple of weeklies on 688C for today that I'm going to roll to tomorrow or maybe on Thursday. but I just want to see if they undercut here or not and give us that buying opportunity to get calls. Otherwise, I don't want to buy anything until we get a sweep of the upper boundary here or a lower boundary here to get calls or upper boundary here to get puts. George has opened QQQ puts. I wonder why. I think he probably sees the same thing I do, which is that undercut. I think it might be right. You can tail him if you want. I'm just going to play the reversal because I don't want to waste capital here trying to chase a move, knowing that they're more likely to undercut and rip higher. I'd rather just wait for it to come down to this area before going up. And I can then deploy $5,000 or whatever it is on my main account to get those 10, 20 contracts and then scale out of them at 10, 20% gains. George's already made 9% on those puts. Nicely done. QQQ net buyers. If I'm looking at the dark pool activity and institutional volume alerts, IWM, same thing. People are buying. SPY probably going to be the same thing. People are going to be buying. And one thing I've started doing recently is just looking at the Dow Jones. If I look at the Dow Jones Industrial Complex and the futures there, I'm finding that whatever move happens here will precede any moves on SPY or QQQ or IWM. So if this pumps in the next 5, 10, 15 minutes, it's likely we'll get a mega pump on SPY and QQQ afterwards. So I'm really liking how this works so far. So if I do this on SPY and then put YM here, you'll kind of see what I mean. Okay, we're going to move up towards 49.6 probably pretty soon on Dow Jones, and then on the 15-minute on SPY, I think it's inevitable that they undercut and rip. This I'm going to buy some commons and a leap on. I'll post what I'm buying shortly, and then these I really like 120Cs for UPS. And let me just put the QQQ chart there just because I'm curious to see what happens. But I do think they were going to push this up towards 600, to be honest. I think that's my gut feeling based on this chart at least. Any questions before we just watch for a couple minutes? Okay, no questions. What I'll do is I'll open my broker so we can see what I'm trying to do. Just give me a sec. Okay, so this is my trading portfolio. Not a lot of activity here, but we got those PLD calls. They're up 300%. I don't know if anyone took those, but take the win. MBST calls were up 1,500% here. I don't know if anyone took those. I have no fucking idea, but you do you. SPY, if I look at this chart, I had these 688 calls. I'm going to roll to tomorrow because I think it's a good price and time to roll. Let me just roll these to Thursday maybe, actually. That might be a better call. And I'll take the hit on that. That's fine. And HSHP, similar story here. I want to buy some long-dated calls. Or actually, they don't have calls. I'm going to buy shares. I'm literally just going to deploy like $100 every day or every week for the next couple of weeks and just see where that ends up. XLE, I've already got a starter position on this. So I want to buy the 2027 options, as I mentioned a couple of days ago. I like the Jan 15, 2027, 60 calls or 70 calls, whatever you prefer. They're both a pretty good price at $100. And 60 is like $300, whatever your preference is. I like the 70s the best because they have more open interest compared to all the other strikes. And then the 61s have the most open interest. So I think the risk and reward is definitely there, but you do you. And then when I look at industrials, I'm also looking at Caterpillar. I really like the calls here or the leaps. They are really expensive though, so I'm really liking the January 15 or the June 2027 ones. And here, you're deploying 10 grand, whatever it is, for the 870, 880 strikes. Some of them don't really have a lot of open interest, so I would get commons instead. And then I'm really liking how things like UU, for example, are shaping up, or the value stocks. If I look at like any of the Vanguard ETFs, those are going pretty well. And I'm going to take a couple of options and comments on energy names like UU, MP for mining. And then also for, if I look at the stock chart here, it's looking pretty good to me. Just let them undercut and rip. And I'm also really liking how some of these other energy players like NBIS are looking. So if I just look at their chart quickly, I want to buy these April 2nd 100 Cs. That's really where my mind is at. If not 100, then I'll try to get like a lower strike around the March 13, March 20 area. But I want to get like the 95 or 100 strikes here is kind of where my mind is at for these options. Weeklies or maybe end of the month, you could probably like gamble with 97 or 100, one of these two. But they're kind of expensive. So I'm going to wait till Thursday and probably get like 1 day calls for NBIS. But a lot of these data center names I think are going pretty well. I think George just got stepped out, but let's see. Yeah, he just got lost that QQQ put. That's fine. Open IWM calls, probably the right move. We'll see where that ends up. And then SPY, I really like that 688 call. So let's just go and get that for today. 685, sorry, 686. I'll just get one of these. Call it a day. I don't know if this is going to roll or not because we're now above the limit price that it's set, but we'll see. If it doesn't roll for whatever reason, I'll just roll the 686 to tomorrow. That's kind of where my mind's at. But I'll go back to the charts. I just realized I'm sharing the wrong screen, but you get the idea. Okay, let's change this to the other stream. There we go. I think it's going to break out pretty quickly. I think you're moving towards 690. I don't know if we get that today or tomorrow. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to get anything or chase anything except for roll that 688 call to tomorrow. I'm surprised that MBSD call pumped up like crazy today. Oh, I wasn't expecting that, but here we are. If we close above 682, I'm going to take the 690 calls for tomorrow. It's pretty likely that we just sweep the highs around 686 and then decide to reverse down or not, but the risk and reward for 690C one day to expiry is pretty nice. By the way, if anyone took those PLD calls with me, you're up like 75%, I believe. So I took the 150 calls for March, I believe. I'm looking to get to that 145.5 area before I start trimming because I got 10 calls. I'm a main and one on my George trading portfolio. So I want to get to that 142 area before I start to trim those. Okay, George is making some money on IWM calls. That's great. And you saw that rip up to 49,600. That's exactly what I was saying on the Dow Jones. And so you'll get like a mega pump here on SPY in the next 5 minutes. It's always like a 5-10 minute delay here. So just watch. You're up about 10% on the 686 calls. If anyone took those, just take the win. But I'm really liking the trade-off between Dow Jones, watching that for the future move, and then seeing that happen on SPY 10, 15 minutes later, or whatever the number is. Yeah, I like the 690C for tomorrow. I think that's going to hit. as I said, the bottom is in. As soon as Michael Berry tooted, I was like, it's time. The bottom's there. Okay, you're about 20% on the IWM calls if anyone got that discount from George. There's your pump. If it closes above 50K here, or 49, whatever this number is, 49,822, like we're going towards 690 today, like on SPY. I'm pretty sure of that. Check out that pump. That's insane. HSHP. Got a starter position there. Oh, IWM's rejecting. I don't like that. That's sus. That is sus. UPS, I'm going to get calls on Thursday probably. I do think they're going to catch some bids pretty soon. I just want to see what XLE is doing. It should start getting to that discount range at 53, and I'll get some long-term leaps or add to them at least. That's why I like those one-dated calls or two-dated calls. It's because it just gives you more time. Even if they undercut here, like they stop at a bunch of people who've shorted around this area and come back to this area before going up, like it just gives you more time. It's kind of cool to see the moves in parallel, though. I will say, I really like this. I didn't discover this till Friday, but now that I see it, it's kind of obvious. One other chart I like before I forget is RCAT. You're coming into this discount zone, and you're coming into like a deep discount too at that 10 area. I want to get like 13C or maybe even 15C for January next year. That's going to be the target. It's a bit of a slow mover, but I like how this looks. And if I look at it on the 4 hour, I think you'll see what I see, which is like a cup and handle forming. So you'll get like this nice little cup and then go up towards that 20 area by the end of the year. That's really what I'm expecting there, but we'll see what you get. Go back to QQQ. I think they're going to try to push this and close it above the 600 just based on the chart alone. Okay, there's your trap. Oh, I want to see what the 945 candle does, but I think it goes up. Okay, I just got a starter position on 688 calls for tomorrow, or sorry, Thursday at 151 per con. I've only got 2 of them so far. And then I'm also going to add Cypher calls right now for March 20C at $1 or $96. Let me post that in the swing alerts. Cypher 20C 320 at 96 per con. Starter. We'll add if it gets cheaper. And let me put one more that I'm just looking at right now. Wolf 20C 320 at 81 per con. Starter. And we'll do one more because I'm curious to see where this goes. Wow, some of these options are totally whack, but let's see what we get. I like this one, okay. NBIS 110C 320 to 535 per con. Okay, I posted all those in the Leaps channel, or Swings channel rather. And let me just open Discord so you can see what I'm seeing. Now I got a couple of dark pool prints on SPY that are sellers, but that's fine. We'll see how that goes. Oh, I do like Google as well. Look at the Goog chart. You came into like a deep discount here as well. So I'm going to take a starter position on Commons finally, because it came down to that 298, 300 area, which is what I was saying last week. And then I want to get some calls for 400C by the end of the year. That's really where my mind is at right now on those. I do think they'll defend this range, just so you see what I see on SPY. It's unlikely that we roll over towards 674. If we do, then I'm going to add more to the calls that I have for Thursday and Friday. Or if they hold this shape, then we're golden, because I think you'll test 686 today at least. And we're up 85% on the PLD calls. I don't know if anyone took those, but just take the win, honestly. I'm surprised George got stopped out of those QQQ puts. He would have been right. Just early by 15 minutes. That's fine. That's fine. You're coming into the buy block, so I think you'll pump eventually. I just don't know when. There's your double tap of that 680 area, or 679.83. It's been a shape that we haven't, or it's been a level that we haven't been able to get over for a couple of days now. But I do know that's where there's a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of buyers at this area, so we'll see if they're still there or not. What's he seeing on gold? A lot of people are selling gold. Okay, that makes sense. But you're coming into that discount again. Like I think this level will be held, and then we'll go up towards 466. So I want to buy some gold calls for the end of the week. Okay, let's see if they hold here or not. I think they will. This looks like a bear trap to me. That's when you freak out every retail investor and get them to buy puts and then squeeze them towards the upside. And because I'm curious, let's go see what Microsoft's doing. I think it's at 396. It's coming to that 394 area, which is what I really like. I'm not buying any commons or shares here, but I want to see if we can get some like short-term calls around the 394 area if we get there. And similar story on Oracle. I think it's also going to be dumping towards that discount zone at 155. You have your head and shoulder there. We dumped, came back into that discount area, which has been defended quite a bit. So I do like the setup for weeklies as well. AVGO, kind of a similar story, probably. Let's open this up. It's just been a continued downtrend for like 2 weeks now. But it's coming into that discount here at 318, is it? Yeah, 318.30. So if they hold this level, then I really like how the chart looks for weeklies as well, but I'll wait till Thursday to get that. Okay, let them come down. That's fine. We gave our calls a bit of time till Thursday, so I'm happy with that. And if we come down and tag that 674 area, what I'm going to do is take the calls, the 686 calls that were up 12% like 10 minutes ago and roll them to tomorrow. So I don't mind paying that premium to roll it, as long as I know that we're directionally right. I'm happy to do it. So can't get over this HSHP chart. It looks so good to me. Like, that's crazy. Okay, you're going to double tap here on AVGO and fly. I like that. Gold should start pumping soon. There's your undercut and repair. We'll see if we get that. And QQQ, you're going to double tap that 595 area and go towards 600, I think. I don't know if any of the Chinese names are catching bids, but let's go check Baba. Nope, not yet. Give it some time. Let it come down to discount around the 150 area and we'll get some calls. Baidu, I imagine, is the same story. Actually, this chart looks a lot better. You got that inverse head and shoulder here as well. And then go towards 146, 150, but we'll see what happens there. And you're rotating between SPY and gold right now. I think that's really what I'm seeing. Like, all that liquidity that's been swept here is going towards gold. If you want, you can get one-dated calls for 466, but that's a bit of a lotto. I want to see what PDD is doing because you have high beta here. Not the best chart, but they've held this level for quite some time. So I really like how this looks. If we get a double tap or undercut, I want to get some calls as well. I'll let them do this. We're up about 4% on the 650p hedge for March, but I want to add more to it if we go higher. Let's see if they hold that double bottom here. I think they will. I think they'll hold this area. If they hold it, I'm going to add one more on the 686 calls and roll them to tomorrow. Because I got 688 for Thursday already, which I'm happy with. Okay, we'll give it 5 more minutes, then I'll see what I want to do with this call. What else did I get? I don't think I got anything else that open. Okay, while we wait for that, I'm going to show you the HL chart because I think it looks pretty good. I really like leaps on this. You're coming back into that discount range. And again, this is that level that they keep undercutting. It goes back until, like, I think this is from early February. If I look at this on the daily, it looks pretty good as well. And what I'm seeing on the HL chart is an almost inverse head and shoulder, or like a triple bottom scenario here. So I want to get like the 25 calls for March. I already have 30, but I'm going to roll them to the end of the year. And then my target is that 34 area, which is all-time high for this particular stock. So let's see what happens there. And let's see if QQQs are starting to catch bids, which I think they should. Okay, come down to that line and double test and go up. And we got that pump on the Dow Jones, setting up higher highs, higher lows. Get it towards 50K. I know you want to. And I'm just going to watch and see what this does in the next 4 minutes. Okay, if anyone took those 650 puts for March, you're up about 30% again. Didn't get a chance to add more, unfortunately, but that is the game. This doesn't hold. I get worried about the downside at 671, 674 area, but I think it will. Just be mindful. We're going to start pumping soon. The first half hour is almost over, so I think this is all our retail liquidity here. I think you're setting up for a move up, but I could be wrong. We'll see. Okay, there's the Dow Jones pump. Let's see if SPY follows. I think it will. Just give it some time. Okay, meanwhile, let me just check the prices on gold options for Friday. And the Friday gold calls will be a hedge for any downside for inflation tomorrow. I'll put them in the swing alerts. GLD 450C. Sorry, 460 calls. Wait one sec. Yep. 460C, 220 at 170 per con. Hedge for any data on the FOMC tomorrow, Thursday. Okay, I think they're almost done selling the SPY here. I'm seeing the print slow down quite a bit on the shares that they're selling. I don't see any other levels here. That's the thing. Like if we don't close above 677, you're going down towards 674.85. You might have like a minor level here, but I don't know. I don't know if we get that today or not. Okay, this is now lagging by 15 minutes compared to the Dow Jones. Great. It's going to tag 50K probably today. That's pumping. I'm surprised WM is not. It's almost there. Nah, rejecting the same spot. Okay, I'll give it some time. Okay, I'm going to roll my 686 calls for tomorrow for an extra, let me just check what the number is. For an extra $50. All right, let's do it. Hopefully someone took the win when you were up 12%. All right, done. And Walmart looks pretty good for another round of weeklies. I'm going to wait till Thursday again. Same story. You got your head and shoulder pattern on the inverse. And then go towards 136 again, which is the target. But I'll wait till Thursday. And Amazon's trying to catch some bids based on the flow that I'm seeing. You got your nice accumulation zone here on discount. They've held this level quite a bit of times. And I think you're moving towards 205, 210 maybe. But it's a bit of a slow mover, so maybe give it some time, maybe a week or two. What else did I have open that I really like? No, nothing else. If anyone took the HSHP at open, you're up like 10%. Sorry, 2%. I like them for commons. Okay, there's your undercut. Now do you rip higher? I think it's pretty likely. But we'll watch. George opened more IWM calls for the 500 account. That's cool. It's in the money, so that's kind of nice. Okay, give me that undercut and rip. I like that. I'm not chasing Amazon. I'm not doing anything here. And let's see if UPS is starting to catch bids, which it should be pretty soon. Okay, there's your undercut. Let's see if it rips higher. If anyone rolled those calls, you're up 10%. Let me just check. I'm doing this on my phone, so it's kind of hard to keep track. Feb 18. Yeah, you're up 10% on those 686 for tomorrow. Oh, there it is. There's your pump. That swing alert that just came in on the swing alerts channel for Bob's, those SPY puts for 650C have been sold. Just so you know, that's why it says bullish. I'll show you exactly what I mean, because I'll open the stream there. One sec. Okay. Damn, I keep sharing the wrong one, don't I? One sec. Okay, that should be it. All right. So whenever you see this, and there's like a green bar here, I think it's green, and you see the sentiment is bullish, this is a sell to open. So someone sold those 650 puts that expire on Friday. I don't know if it's if it was profitable or not for them, but that's really what that means. And then the institutional volume alerts, they've stopped selling the SPY shares. So I saw this slow down like around here, and I started buying them about 10 minutes ago. So if I could scroll up a little bit, you'll see that it started buying at 950. So this is a good sign. I think they're going to be net buyers today more than net sellers. But let's see where we end up. I'll go back to trading view and open up the SPY chart. But I like calls for one day here. There's a reversal. There's a reversal. Gold should be the same story. Should start reversing up soon. And it'll start reclaiming that 4,679 area. So really like that. Okay, we're up about 15% on the roll for tomorrow. It's my bad. I should have just listened to myself when I was saying this morning. Just wait for the undercut and play the reversal. But it's fine. Live and learn. And what I'm going to do if we reclaim 682 is get more of the 650 puts for the end of at the end of March. Okay, more dark pool activity. That's great for us. They're buying. And George is watching calls again, but he's saying it's no volume. That's fine. That's fine. We'll wait. 500 challenge. He took those 260Cs. I think he actually made money on those, but let's go check. He still cut them open. He's at break even. Okay, I'll wait. I like this. He's getting them near the money. Volume's fading, which is nice on the bearish side at least. And one chart that I'm interested in is Palantir. Let's go look at that while we wait. I think this is your double bottom scenario here. I think it's gonna move towards that 133, 136 area, but again, I'll wait till Thursday. There's no point chasing it. Tesla should be dumping. There it is. I'll wait to see if we tag that 386.85 area, then I'll get some calls. I really like the on a daily chart, if I show everyone what I'm looking at. I had drawn this last week. It kind of played out. If I look at the daily, you're getting like a nice cup forming here. So I think it's something like this. And then you kind of fly towards that 600 area by the end of the year. So I'm going to get like 600 calls for probably September, October. But I really like how this looks on the daily. We'll see what that does later in the day or tomorrow. And then Apple, I really like the 300 calls for the end of the year because we're coming into a deep discount here. Around this area is your discount zone. This is your deep discount. I don't know if we get there again. But I really like how this chart looks on a daily as well. If I look at this and just draw a trend line from the lows to the highs, you'll see what I mean. I'll just take this low and kind of go up. And then take the highs here and go down. You've already broken out of that lower trend. So I do think it's inevitable that you tag 340 ideally by the end of the year. But I want to get the 300 calls for like September, October, maybe even 350 Cs for the end of the year. But I really like how that chart looks. And now we just got to wait for volume. I don't see anything. One thing that's suspicious to me is that the put premiums are dropping. If I go to SPY, I look at the puts here for today, like they're dropping in value. You'll see the 677Ps drop from like 215 or 240, I think it was, like when I last checked. Now it's 209. Like it's going to drop, and then you're going to get a pump on SPY pretty soon. So it went from like 211 to $1.90. I think we're going to be moving towards that 680 to 84 area pretty soon. I roll this tomorrow. I don't know why it's still showing one, but I roll this tomorrow for an extra $30. Okay, if nothing happens in the next 5 minutes, I'll just end the stream and just share what I'm in right now. Let me just write that here so you can all see it. Rolled 686C, 1 DT for an extra 30. 688Z, 2 DTE for an extra 59. Two cons, we'll add more. Or roll to Friday, TBD. And I already posted the other swings that I'm watching, or these are the starter positions. I got the NBIS Lotto, only 2 cons in my main account, and then gold. This is more of a hedge for any data that comes out tomorrow and Thursday, because we have the FOMC minutes tomorrow, I believe. There's just no volume again. It's kind of sus, but whatever. This one got sold. We know that. He likes calls. Great. And I think that's it. Oh, VST. That's a good chart too. I was looking at that this morning. Let's open that up. VST. You got like an inside bar here, so I think it's inevitable that you go tag 180, I believe, is the call wall. That should also be a high. Yep, it's around here. Okay. I like the VST calls. I don't know if I want to take them now or wait till Thursday, but I do think that it's pretty likely that I would get to like 172, 180 by the end of the week. My only concern with that is the price for entry, so I don't want to risk it until Thursday, but I do like how this chart is shaping up. And the 4 hours, you just have higher highs and higher lows. I can't say much more. You got your bottom here, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. I think you're going towards that 200 target, which is that previous imbalance. So I like how that looks personally. I don't know if anyone has the balls to swing it, but that's where my mind is at. With all these shipping containers and companies, I think it's pretty bullish. XLE should be starting to catch bids. You got a nice bottom here, and then now you should move towards the overnight lows and highs around that 55, 56 area. And I really like the 70 calls for January. I think I have a starter in those already, so just be mindful of that, but I'll post in the swing alerts as well. Just give me a sec. XLE 70C 117.27. It's 115.27 at 105 per con. Starter position with 8 cons. We'll add more and comments. Okay, that's all I got. Not seeing much movement right now anywhere across the board. So either some news is inbound or I don't know what the hell they're doing, waiting for this. But I like this bottom setup. So I'm more of a buy the dip scenario. I don't know if I want to chase any puts here because I already have the 650 puts for March 20. And we'll see where that ends up. And whatever's green, just take the win. I don't think there's any point waiting for anything. If anyone took those PLD calls, you're still up like 80% or something. And I want to see this explode towards 150 in the next couple of days. I think we'll get that pretty soon. I really like how this is looking too on the daily. If I look at the chart, same story. Got your cup, got your handle, higher highs, higher lows, go towards 152, 160 is the target. But those March 150 calls will print pretty soon, I think. And I think that's all I got. On SPX, if anyone's wanting to play, I think you can target the 6,880 calls for tomorrow or today, or 6,850 is kind of the sweet spot. That's what George was saying as well, so we'll see. He's changed towards being a bull on SPY, SPX, and IWM. And let's see if he's right. If I open the IWM chart, you've swept a lot of liquidity, and it kind of tracks with my chart here. This is your previous day low, previous week low, and previous month low, I believe as well. So I like how this chart's looking. And I think like 270s for June 2026 rather are pretty worthwhile if anyone wants to get those. All right, that's it for me. Let's see if any volume comes in. I'll keep an eye out for the SPX volume. Whenever that big print hits at like $40, $50 billion, I just get them blindly now because for the most part they're pretty accurate. We'll see where that ends up. All right, we'll close the stream. We'll chat soon, y'all. Take it easy.